Hi everyone. So I want to take you through a quick little box. I don't want to make this too long, but I just wanted to do another box tutorial because obviously boxes are amazing and I think everyone can use a little more experience and a little more practice with the box, no matter what experience level you are with it. So this was for a client that I have worked with for a while now. We'll call her Annie. And she's been seeing this guy, we'll call him Ben, for I forget how long now, but it's been I think at least like a month or two. I think a couple months now. And I've done readings for her in the past where it's shown that there's going to be issues with communication and things are just not going to work out well. So she asked me what she can expect over the next month in her relationship with Ben. So what can Annie expect over the next month in her relationship with Ben? And I also wanted to show you this box because this is, I treat a box very much like I treat a ground to blow, in the sense that whatever is above weighs over whatever is on bottom. So, here we have this top line, the bear, the cross, and the birds. Nothing is above it. Nothing is affecting it. It is affecting the whole box, and specifically her card in the middle there, because it is at the top and nothing is above it. So nothing is weighing on that line, on that cross, anything. That cross is actually, because the cross is a huge negative, is weighing over the whole box. And she's got the clouds next to her, and the bear, which is strong and large, is in between both negatives. So, like it is there. So, I wanted to show this box because I want to kind of specifically talk about how I kind of read a box not in the traditional way of like, this is the past, this is the present, this is the future. I read it very much, I kind of call it, I've started calling it like my freestyle portrait type of box where I kind of go very intuitive with it. I read it very much like left to right and top to bottom. Obviously, again, the top having more weight over what's below it. So, when you see negatives on top, those negatives are weighing over the whole box. But then if there's positives on top, those positives are actually weighing over the whole box. And when there's negatives underneath the positives, those positives are actually giving more positivity and kind of like, what's the word? Kind of like stamping out the negativity a little bit, like muting it a little. But here we have, this is also a good example of when I turn up a box, I look at the box as a whole first and foremost. I don't go straight into interpreting it. I don't go straight into talking about any specific thing just yet. I just look at it as a whole. And already as a whole, this looks on the difficult side. Because, like I said, the cross is directly overhead of her and she has the clouds right next to her. And there really are there's no other negative cards, but there really aren't any positive cards here. The only positive is the stork, for improvement and, elevating. But beyond that, there are no positives in this reading. And this is actually a heavier reading because not only getting two negative cards, but where they are in this box. So after I do that, and I kind of just give my quick idea of the vibe that the box is giving as a whole, then I go into interpreting it. And for me, I think I've said this in my last box reading, but I always turn the middle card up first because it's your focus. It shows you where the emphasis is in that box reading. And I think of the whole box, all 8 cards around that middle card, as like revolving around that central event, that central aspect or quality, depending on the question. And here we have the woman card, which is directly affirming Annie and her position in this situation. So, because our context is about the next month for Annie and her relationship with Ben, seeing the woman card at all, and also without the man card because he did not show up, only she did. For me, it's actually putting the emphasis on her and her placement and her role over this next month in the relationship. And everything is going to be central, literally central, around her and how she's going to deal with it and the stress, obviously, that she's going to go with the cross there. So, I turn the middle card up first, and that's her. And already it's telling me that, like, oh, okay, there she is in the middle. That's affirming her. And then I turn the first card up, and I turn the last card up. And here we have, and I kind of read this as, sometimes I read it as a line, like a coherent line. And then sometimes I read it as, like, it's giving me a sequence of events that box is going to go through. I kind of read this line as my quick introduction to what that box is really going to talk about. And then the other 6 cards on the corners give me the meat of the box, and then that really, I'm able to delve into the box and really read it, and kind of delineate what that central diagonal line is talking about. So here we have the bear, the woman, and the stork. And already it's telling me she is actually going to need to be strong and really focus on kind of protecting and caring for herself, because the bear is the card of protection and strength and also care and nurturing. So really she's going to have to protect herself, and she's really going to have to like hunker down, especially because the clouds and the cross are not only on the diagonal of her, but on the diagonal of the bear, which is her protection of herself. So then we have the stork here, which is like she's actually going to, I felt when I saw the stork, as soon as I turned up the stork, because we always go with our first intuitive feeling of any of the cards, I saw the stork and I felt she's actually going to be flying off. Yes, it is improvement and elevation, and we have to remember our context is only about this relationship over the next month. But I really did feel, especially because of the market card next to it, that she is actually going to be flying off and like moving forward, on top of whatever improvement is going to be happening over the next month with this relationship. And to mention the market card right now, I'm working with the Rana George Lenormand, which includes her 4 extra cards: Spirit, the Bed, the Incense Burner, and I'm sorry, I had that wrong. Spirit, the Incense Burner, the Bed, and the Market. The order was wrong. And obviously the market card came up here. The market means, for those of you who are not familiar with this deck and the extra cards, the market is shopping around. It is the work card and employment card. So whatever other card you use for work and employment goes back to being its normal thing. I used to use the fox, so now the fox goes back to being its negative, sneaky, sneaky, manipulative, and the market becomes the only work card. But under this context of a relationship, it does talk about work in that relationship that you'll have to do, but also, because of the stork here and because of the letter, I also felt it as shopping around, which I'm not going to get into just yet. I'll save that for when I get to it in the box, but so we'll start. So for me, I've already, I've covered my general vibe of the box. I've covered the central diagonal line, and now I go into the box and I actually read the columns and the rows. The bear, the clouds, and the letter. The bear is weighing over the clouds, making that miscommunication, that doubt, that insecurity, that, just the general trouble for her because it's next to her. Very, very strong and imposing, because the bear makes anything strong. So when you have it around negative cards like it is here, it is actually giving more power and more weight to the negative cards and whatever they're talking about. So that insecurity, that miscommunication especially, and because I look also at the cards that repeat themselves and give like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a common theme amongst the multiple cards to kind of inform for me what a certain card may be doing. So here, the clouds can be a lot of things like I just mentioned, but specifically here, I felt it as like a miscommunication because we have the letter underneath it, and the letter is a written communication card, and then we have the birds over here, and the birds is verbal communication. So already I'm seeing 2 cards about communication and a negative card about miscommunication. So for me, that's specifically affirming that the clouds is more so coming as miscommunication in that relationship over the next month. And specifically because of where it is over that letter, it is actually weighing over texting, messaging, whatever written correspondence they do. And I know that they text, so it's obviously coming in the form of text here. So that strong miscommunication is going to be via texting and messaging this month. And then, like I said, having the cross over her is directly weighing over her. So she is actually going to go through a lot of challenge and like trials and tribulations this month with the relationship. And then she's over the market, which whatever's underneath her is what she is kind of in control of and what she's actually doing as opposed to what's being done unto her. So to have the cross over her, that cross is being done unto her, whereas the market, the work that she's going to have to do either within herself or in this relationship as a whole is underneath her. So she's actually very much in control of that work, and she's going to be doing work that will lead to improvement, because the stork is there and the letter is there, so it is going to be work related to communication in this relationship. But yeah, she's good. But also, because, like I just said, this is communication work that leads to improvement. So there is going to be work that she's going to be in control of as far as their communication goes. That is going to be a little, it's going to bring a little improvement because of the stork there. But also, we have to remember that these cards can flip. They come in especially a box, and because I treat it like a grand tableau, the way a grand tableau is read, this box, all of its lines can go through layers. So you can have one line mean something and then it flips and it actually means something else, both meanings being valid in that one box. And again, because I turned up the stork and I felt that she was actually going to be flying off, seeing here the letter in the market actually for me talks about she's going to be shopping around and she's going to be texting other people, and it could be like she could get back on a dating app. She could get back on, she could, just be shopping around and meet someone and be texting with them. But basically, she is, on top of the work that she's going to be doing in this relationship, she is also going to be flying off and shopping around. And I actually have feedback about that already. She has a date with someone else, so she is shopping around. She is not anymore putting her eggs into this one basket. And then the birds, the house, and the stork. So that communication is actually going to stabilize because of the house right there and improve a little because of the stork right there. So there is going to be some communication improvement. But again, that stork is also turning into flying off. She is actually going to fly off, even though that communication may stabilize and improve a little bit. She's still going to be flying off. And then I read the rose. And the bear, the cross, and the birds is showing that there is going to be strong, weighted, heavy stress and challenge and burden for her in the sense of communication. So that communication, because the birds is right there next to the cross, is actually going to be directly affected. So that communication is going to be heavy. It is going to be stressful. It is going to be very, very difficult for her specifically, because she's the only one who came up in this box in this next month for the relationship. And also, because of the way the cross is next to the birds here and the clouds is over the letter, and like I said, the letter and the birds are the two communication cards that showed up in this box, the communication is going to heavily, heavily suffer because of the location of those communication cards and because those negative cards, the only two in the box, are next to them. And because the bear is adding weight to both negative cards because of where it is. It's like going this way and then it's going this way. And I'm talking about the bear, the way it's adding the weight and the heaviness and the strength and power to those negatives. And then I read the clouds, the woman in the house, and there's going to be a lot of doubt and insecurity and again, miscommunication, for her to deal with this month in the relationship. But then she's going to stabilize a little. Things are going to kind of flatten out because the house is stability and its security and its safety. She's going to reach a more safe space. And then, like I said, I've already talked about this one, the letter, the market, and the stork. There is going to be some work on communication that is going to bring some improvement, but then also she is going to be shopping around and flying off. And that is the box. I think I covered everything. I think I also kept it under my original time from the last reading, which was or I should say the last box reading I posted, which I want to say was 17 minutes, and we're already at 14 minutes. So I hope this wasn't too long for you guys to watch. I hope that everyone stuck through. I thought this was a really good example just in a lot of ways, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, or you have any questions about the kind of technique I use for this box, please let me know in the comments and I will be happy to get back to you. Okay?